Golf simulator expert Alex helped me build my brand new luxury golf simulator, and we're about to reveal some industry secrets that took my setup from DIY to professional.
Let's go.
The space and the size of my setup here is I've got 2.9 meters of height and I've got 5 meters of width. So how does that compare to like the professional recommended dimensions?
Okay, yeah, so our recommended dimensions, they start at about 4.5 meters wide. That means you can hit from the middle of the room. And generally speaking, we say 3 meters height and then as much depth as you can give.
Okay.
So if you wanted a radar in here, you'd be a little bit tight. Like it's right around the edge. You're about, what, 5.5 meters?
So I'm like 6 meters deep. Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
So it's right on the edge, but you're 2.9 meters high. Although it sounds like you're below our recommended, that recommended really is for anybody to be able to swing in the space and never hit that roof. So obviously you're not blessed with towering height, shall we say. So having that 2.9 height is plenty. And obviously I've also been hitting shots in here today, and 2.9 for me as well is fine. There is a beam. Obviously we can show the beam.
Just want to show you something. Okay, so let me just flip the camera up a little bit here. So this RSJ caused a significant problem for me in my planning phase, and I gave you a call, didn't I? And I said that it's bringing the height of my ceiling down from 2.9 meters to 2.7 meters. And I was worried if I was going to be able to swing driver. Okay, so you helped me out. You said 2.7 should still be fine.
Yeah.
And then for me, I was practicing in here and I didn't have any problems, and you are a lot more gifted in the height department than I am. And Alex has been swinging some golf clubs in here today, and how did you get on?
I've been absolutely fine. So generally speaking, 2.7, 2.75 and up, if you're a decent golfer, you've got a pretty grooved in swing, you're actually going to be okay. We wouldn't say 2.7 is fine for everybody, because you might get the odd person who cracks their driver on a ceiling. The first thing we always say is just take a golf club in there and swing and see how you feel, because it's often not that you're going to hit the roof, it's that you feel like you're going to hit the roof.
Yeah.
So you start to flatten your swing, you start to abbreviate your follow through, and that can start causing all sorts of issues for your game.
So yeah, I've had a few pals come down here and they see the RSJ and they get worried. So all I say to them is I've got an alignment stick, and I just let them have a swing with the alignment stick, and then we kind of get a gist of how far away from the RSJ they are. But what you helped me out with as well was where I positioned the hitting mat. So I made like a longer strip for my hitting mat, because what we can do is we can actually move the launch monitor a little bit further back if somebody's worried that they're going to be hitting that RSJ, because it's the actual follow through that is more, it's got more higher apex than the back.
So as you're coming through, you're extended because you've swung at the golf ball. You're not sort of loading this way and sort of tucking up, you're extending through.
So I can kind of combat the 2.7 meters of height by simply just moving the launch monitor back a little bit if there is anybody that's coming in and having a swing and they feel like they might hit it. But you're what, 6'25"?
Yeah,
and
something like that. So I mean, it's one of the beauties as well of you having a camera-based launch monitor. So you've got a SkyTrack. It means you can just whack that thing down and it's ready to go. You don't have to sort of spend ages lining it up in the room. That would apply for things like SkyTrack Plus as well, GC3, GC Quad, all of these camera-based ones that sit to your right, just inside the golf ball. Yeah, you're good to go. As soon as you need to move that hitting position, you just move it and you're good to go.
Next up, we had my impact screen, which I bought from you guys at Golf Swing Systems. Now, I was wondering like kind of which level of impact screen to go for, and I knew that I was going to get a 4K projector. So I asked you and you helped me out, didn't you?
Yeah, so obviously you went with a BenQ 4K projector, which is a beast of a projector.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to give off fantastic pictures. You can see it behind us. It is gorgeous. You have options of things like home cinema capabilities. If you bring the lads in here and you want to watch football, you're watching it in 4K. You've got GS Pro running in 4K as well, the Ultra. Like it looks fantastic.
I love it. I absolutely love it,
Yeah, and with that, you need to have a projection screen that can actually take that 4K image. So we have our Vista screen in here, which is our Ultra HD. So it's going to take that 4K image. It's going to be nice and sharp. You're not going to be able to see the weave of the screen. You can see behind us, it looks like a plain white sheet.
Yeah, saying that just looks like there's no weave on that screen. It looks so good.
And that's sort of the top level. We then have two more levels. So we've got a brand new one, which is going to be called our Horizon screen.
Okay.
I did not come up with that name. It's a lovely name. But, so the Horizon screen is going to be our mid-level. Now that's going to achieve a similar level of actual picture quality. So it's going to be appropriate for 4K. and sort of high graphics 1080p.
Okay.
But it's not going to be quite as durable as the Vista. So the Vista, we haven't yet had one back. They're pretty much indestructible, whereas the Horizon is a little bit thinner. It's not thin, like it'll last 2 to 3 years, but it's a little bit less durable.
Yeah.
And then down below that, you've got our panoramic screen, which is basically what you would call an archery screen. So you'll hear other people mention that. It's a much wider weave. So it's definitely not HD. When you project onto it, you'll get an image and it'll be nice. It'll be nice to look at. Like if I didn't tell you this is a standard definition, you're still looking at it and say that's a pretty cool simulator.
Yeah. So I used to have an archery screen,
Yeah.
and they're amazing because they're so quiet when you're hitting into them,
really
aren't they?
quiet.
And you still get a very good image, don't you? But definitely won't get a 4K image on an archery screen.
If you're buying a budget end screen, if you're buying the panoramic screen, which is very affordable, we would then also advise go for one of our more affordable projectors.
Yeah. Like Alex said before, they kind of go hand in hand, the screen and the projector. There's no point buying an amazing projector and an average screen. Another thing on like the screen and the size of my room that you helped me out with in like the planning stage of this simulator was the aspect ratio, because I was struggling in my previous setup that was very small. I had like a 1-to-1 aspect ratio, and then when it come to making content for me, it just looked terrible on the screen and stuff, so I had to manipulate the image a lot. But what I did with Alex, I went and seen him up at Golf Swing Systems in Warrington, and you told me the exact dimensions that I could get for a 16:9 aspect ratio, didn't you?
And you have a few options there as well. You've got 16:9, 16:10, and 4:3. Those are sort of the three
most common
easy to achieve ratios. So say, for example, you had a 4 meter by 3 meter screen. If you pop a projector in the right position, you're not going to have to change that image at all. With that, you've then also got the option of adjusting. You can do that with almost all of our projectors. So if you go for 4K, that's less of an option. You need to think about the ratio with 4K.
Yeah.
But if you're going with a 1080p with a very, very high brightness, like still a really, really nice projector, what you can do is you can blow that image up. Say we had a weird shaped screen here. We could blow it up to say 6 meters by 3.5, and then pinch the corners in to fit that screen perfectly. So the most important thing is that you know how big the screen is going to be before you build your sim, so that you know where to put the projector.
You don't want to get a screen that's really tall and then you've got like the black bars either side. You want the projector to fill the full screen, and that's what you were able to help me out with.
Yeah, that's that. So corner correction is something to really pay attention to if you haven't got a standard size screen.
Yeah. Right, the next thing that was really interesting was the hitting mat, which I also got from Golf Swing Systems. This hitting mat is a bit of a cheat really, because I had this in my old setup, didn't I? And I've just transferred it over to my new one. But the reason why I've transferred it from my old budget setup to this new luxury setup is because this is an unbelievable quality hitting mat.
Yeah, so it's called our T-turf matting, and effectively it's a bit of a step on from a standard driving range mat. So if you pop the driving range mat in here, you've got 12 mil of turf, and you've got a very, very easy way of, say you hit a fat shot, that club's going to bounce and you're going to get away with it.
Yeah.
That in our brain is no good. You don't want to get away with anything.
It's not realistic to real life turf then.
Yeah, if you get onto a golf course, you're suddenly fatting everything and you don't know why.
Which has happened to me a lot of times.
That is why. So the T-turf mat is 35 mil thick, so it's 3 times as thick.
Yeah.
And that means if you hit it fat, you felt it before, it grabs that club head and slows it down so that you get the same effect as if you'd hit it fat.
So even though this turf grabs your club and it will punish any sort of fat shots, like I've hit hundreds, maybe thousands of golf shots off this mat.
Definitely thousands by now.
And honestly, I've got no sort of pain in my shoulders, in my wrists, elbows, or anything like that. And that's a massive thing to consider when you're going to buy a hitting mat, because if you buy something that's quite firm or it's going to snag your club too much, you're going to cause injuries, aren't you? And thankfully, so far with this T-turf hitting mat, I've had nothing like that at all.
Yeah, we've got a nice little story about that actually as well. One of my colleagues, Lewis, who you've met, he had a relative who had a problem with his elbow. He couldn't hit off range mats, he couldn't play golf anymore. And so whenever he went to practice, he'd hit a couple of shots, suddenly get a shooting pain in his elbow, and he was out for the day. He's now able to play golf properly. He's able to practice all the time because he's hitting off of a T-turf mat.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so the sort of the way it grabs the club and slows it down is as opposed to that club bouncing with impact off of a driving range mat, which is what causes that golfer's elbow. Yeah, you can have shoulder issues, wrist issues, hand issues. I've actually been there. I've had a hand issue before. and it's no fun.
The thing that I want to mention about the mat is when I got this mat from you guys originally, I did a little spin test. So my old driving range mat was one of those really firm ones. It was very cheap. I picked it up for.
I remember seeing it. It was like hitting off
shocking,
of a welcome mat from our house. It's really thin.
So like the mat obviously impacts how much spin you get on your ball as well. And what I when I did this test, what I noticed was the T-Turf hitting mat, I was getting much better, much more accurate spin numbers than I was off that cheap, thin driving range mat. Yeah. So again, when you're playing in a golf simulator, you want everything to be as realistic as possible. And by getting a hitting mat, that's going to be one of the most important features of your golf sim that's going to make your simulator experience as true to real life golf as it possibly can be.
One thing I want to mention about the T-Turf as well is the durability. So you mentioned you've brought this section over from your old sim. This thing is still looking brand new. I think a really good idea that a lot of people can follow is you've done an off-cut. So you've obviously got a larger, I believe it's 2 by 1 meters you've got, isn't it? It's quite a lot. And so he's cut out a 1 meter by probably, 50 centimeters roughly? Strip of it, which means you've got the option of, you've got maybe 4 replacements.
If this one does eventually run out, then I've still got lots more left over that I can just cut another strip out of, fit it exactly into here, and it looks brand new. The next thing that I was really grateful for you guys for was my side and ceiling protection, mainly because it just finishes off this simulator and it looks, in my opinion, it looks unbelievable now. Now, I stole the idea from your golf swing systems in Warrington.
It's okay, you don't have to steal it, we'll give it to you. It's all right, it's okay.
What was good about these as well, these are like your more budget-friendly option for side and ceiling protection, aren't they? Which is always good for me.
Yeah, so you've got a few options in terms of how you do this. So this is our foam protection. Now, it comes in a load of different options. Now, you've got triangles, you've got hexagons, you've got smaller squares. There's really a load of different options.
Couple of different colours?
Yeah, different shades of grey on the foam. Yeah, so you can go light grey, mid grey and dark grey. You've gone with the dark grey. You've gone with the brick effect. Now, it's very, very popular at the moment with our customers. It looks pretty cool, I think. It's pretty unique. It means every simulator looks a little bit different because the bricks are in a different spot. But what the benefit is they're very, very cheap to replace. Like a box of 12 of these is, it's like 150 quid. Yeah. So it's like, 12 quid a tile. Kid comes in and scratches one up with a golf club or something, you'll be okay. You can just replace that. If you wanted to go up a level, you've then got our leather cushioning. It's a far more expensive one. It's about 3 times the price.
It looks great, doesn't it?
It's about 180 quid a square metre, but it is lovely. It's gorgeous. And it means you have the option of almost any colour you can think of. You could come to me and say, Alex, I want a pink simulator. And I can give you pink leather tiles made exactly how you want them, whatever shape you want them. They're handmade, so they're bespoke. So you've now got our new option, which is fabric covered. The fabric covered, they're another bespoke option, so they're still pretty much the same price as the leather. But what the fabric option gives you is the option of different textures. Yeah. So you can have suede, like we did in Rick Shields' place. He's got suede covered.
Yeah.
Our new bay showing off our Foresight Falcon in our Surrey HQ. That's blue, and that's blue fabric.
I like that.
It's dividing opinions in the office. Some of us love it, some of us hate it. I like, it's growing on me, it really is.
Yeah.
You could go chamfered edges, you could have button fixings, you could have whatever you wanted. But if you want to go with like a more affordable but still really, really good looking option, the foam is the way to go.
When it came to installing it, I obviously built this myself, obviously with a little bit of help and guidance from you guys. And I spoke to Fred up in Warrington, and he kind of told me how to install these foam tiles. So what he did, he told me to lay out the pattern on the floor first before I start sticking anything on. He told me to use the adhesive glue spray to stick them on. And me being me, I made a couple of mistakes along the way.
But we've all been there, don't you?
But what I got told by Freddie was just get a wallpaper scraper, slowly pull the tile back a little bit and just kind of chip away at it. And it comes off no problem, and it doesn't affect the front of the tile. The back of the tile looks a little bit damaged, but honestly, the amount of mistakes that I made on here, and now if you look at it, there's
just good now, though, isn't it?
Amazing, mate. Yeah. Just tips that really helped me out from you guys, just made it look fantastic.
Yeah, so when our pros go in, they take in like multiple lasers. So they have cross sections for the exact corner of a cushion. They create cross sections with multiple lasers, and they're like, okay, that's where it's going to be, and it's to the millimeter. Yeah. They go into some serious detail.
They look cool, don't they?
They do look cool.
Right, Al, another important thing that I learnt from you guys was popping some electricity sockets in like tactical places around my room, especially one in the ceiling, for my projector. Because previously in my old simulator room, I had like a massive cable, HDMI cable going around the room.
Did you have dangle?
Yes, it looks scruffy. Okay. So now this one looks a lot more professional, a lot more tidy, and that's all because when I was designing this, when I was planning this simulator build, you said I've definitely got to have an electrical socket somewhere in the ceiling for the projector. Yeah. I did make one mistake as well, didn't I, mate?
Yeah, a little bit. I noticed it as I came in. You forgot to put the HDMI up behind the walls.
I know, mate. So now I've got a massive HDMI cable running along this RSJ all the way down to my PC.
All right. It's all right. It's okay.
It's all right. Yeah.
It's out of shot. What we generally do, so say you've got a room that you give to us, you say, I've got this 6x5 room. And I want to put in a simulator. So we're going to send you what's called an electrical diagram. So that'll have, say at the back, say you had a radar going in, how many sockets you need, what cables you need going from that position to the PC.
Yeah.
And what we do, we give you all that in advance so that you can go to an electrician and say, do this.
Yeah.
So we give you all the cables, we give you all the positions, and basically they then go through, put sockets where the sockets need to be. They trace cables behind the wall. So say they made a little hole in one wall, made a little hole in the other, they then trace the cable through.
Yeah.
If you're building the room, they're able to do it during first fix. And that way you come to a room where there's nothing on show. Other than the HDMI cable, everything in here is pretty much hidden. Like, you've got your socket in the ceiling. Everything else is all hidden in the cabinet and things like that.
It is important. It's definitely a good thing to get all of this done before you start building your simulator, isn't it? Yeah. So that's kind of where you guys help me out with where to position sockets and stuff. Obviously, one in the ceiling for me, which I'm really grateful for. If I'd have just done the HDMI, then it would have been perfect. But still, it looks pretty good.
It's not bad. Yeah, come on.
So there were a few industry secrets provided by the professional himself. If you'd like to find out some of the important things that I learned building this DIY golf simulator, then check out the video that's on the screen right now.